All right, thank you all for coming. This is Tom Eston, and he is presenting Rise of the Autobots into the Underground of Social Network Bots. Tom is a penetration tester by day, and by night a social media security researcher, blogger, and co-host of the Security Justice podcast. He likes long walks on the beach, breaking things, and getting accounts deleted from social networks. Enjoy.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, we'll get into that. So hi, my name's Tom Eston. I'm not a bot, luckily. I'm I guess you'd say a self-proclaimed social media security researcher. I don't actually think that's an actual title anywhere. I kind of just made that up because there really isn't too many people that do this kind of research, so that was kind of cool. By day, I'm a pen tester. I'm also a bot lover, contrary to what my wife thinks, but I don't actually love bots. I just like playing with bots. I also have a blog, spylogic.net. I co-host a podcast called Security Justice, and you can find me on Twitter as Agent0x0. First, a disclaimer and a big warning. Okay, what you're about to see here violates terms of service and privacy policies of social networks. A lot of the stuff you're going to see is outright, blatantly, it will get your account deleted. I have had accounts deleted doing some of this testing. I also removed a lot on my own after I was done with the testing, even though the social network didn't find out about them. Just want to let you know that. Don't try this at home, or don't try it with your real account, because it will be deleted. So social networks, I mean, everybody knows what these are. The hottest thing right now. A lot of people will say this is the new hotness going on. Great example about social networks. A lot of people think that social networks are used by your generation Y, Generation X like myself, but it's creeped into the baby boomers and beyond. And as an example of that, my own mother over Easter weekend came up to me and said, Tom, I've got this Facebook account. Can you help me set it up and help me out with that? And instant face palm. I'm like, no. Go into the help section of Facebook, find out where you can delete the account, and click that button, and delete, like anybody but my mother. So you'll be surprised. It's amazing. So here's the granddaddy of them all, right? We got Facebook. This is the biggest social network today. Recently, just hit 200 million users. That's a lot of freaking people. This slide in itself pissed me off because I had to change it about 3 times since I started putting the presentation together because they keep growing. We're talking at like 25 million just in the last 3 months they added to this number. They're huge. MySpace. We all know what this is. I consider this the cesspool of the internet, but it's still being used quite prolifically by 110 million users. It's a lot of people. LinkedIn, poor LinkedIn, right? They're kind of, this emerging business social network. A lot of people put resumes, connect with other people. It's great for corporate espionage. From a pen testing standpoint, 35 million users. Very, very small compared to the other guys, but they are growing. Now here's my favorite one, Twitter. This is the hottest social network right now. Recently, you may have heard Oprah started doing a contest with Ashton Kutcher to find out who can get the most most friends on Twitter, and Ashton Kutcher won with it was like 1 million friends or something. Once something reaches Oprah, it's kind of game over. You're mainstream now. So Twitter actually grew by 752% in 2008 alone. That's just crazy. That's crazy, these numbers. They had 8 million visitors just in March of this year. And they're just going to keep getting bigger. So interesting quote here. Social networks are now ahead of email in terms of the most popular online activity. Ahead of email. And that's kind of my point, is that since it's ahead of email now, that's kind of where spammers and other bad guys are going to start moving their attacks towards the social network. So you're going to see a decrease in spam, and you're going to see an increase in attacks on social networks. So it truly is a target-rich environment. So I want to talk a little bit about the culture of trust and how social networks actually work. Trust is important because they want you to trust everybody. they're built on this model of, you know, you're my friends, you're my family, we trust each other, so we're going to share a lot of information. A lot of people like sharing information with just the whole entire world. It's truly amazing. The whole point of this, and a lot of social networks don't have a really good business model or a way to make money, so they want you and they encourage sharing as much data about yourself as possible, because what they are doing in the background is they are mining your data. A lot of people don't think about that, but if you read through their terms of service and privacy policies, they really are mining that data. And in some instances, like Facebook, for example, does sell like demographic information and kind of high-level information about your profile to third parties. Recently, you may have remembered Facebook got in a little bit of trouble when they said, you know, hey, we own your data forever, even after you delete your account. And there was this huge uproar, and people were like, no, you can't do that. I'm deleting my Facebook account. And I'm like, well, deleting your account doesn't matter because they own your data anyway. And you know, whatever you post is their information. So it's something to keep in mind. So why would bots want to exploit trust? This is crazy, right? We're going to play a little game here. We're going to play bot or not. You remember the hot or not, right? Pretty popular with college kids. You know, look at the hot chick. Is she hot? Is she not? That kind of stuff. But we're going to play our own little game right here. Okay, we have Jennifer here. Jennifer is, you know, good-looking blonde. She's got a pretty active profile. Got a bunch of friends. You wouldn't think she's a bot, right? She's a bot. How about Tommy here? Tommy is a good-looking college guy, you know, has some profile activity, looks like he's part of a college network. Doesn't look anything suspicious, right? That's a bot. Tommy is interesting in particular because when you're a bot on a social network, you start getting some weird replies from people. Like Sarah here. She says, this is a message I got in my Facebook inbox from Sarah. I feel like I'm being an ass, even asking if I know you or should know you. After accepting your friend request, I feel like I should have maybe done the asking prior to that. So do I or should I know you? You seem to be friends with people I went to school with, but I don't recognize you. Well, it's interesting, Sarah, because she confirmed me as a friend at 8:20 and at noon sent me this message. Well, it must be because she has 768 friends that she all knows directly, so I say fail. How about OEPB4A, Kristen from Virginia. She likes meeting new people, surfing the web, and she's going to sell you a free laptop. Bot. Obviously, but people fall for it. Haley. Haley, you know, she's got a profile that borders line on MySpace, but on Facebook, it's kind of crappy. Lots of hearts, lots of pretty things. She is actually not a bot, and she has 4,974 friends. Do you think she knows all 4,974 of those people? There's lots of fail here. Lots of fail in this profile. Now let's take it up a little level, all right? Rick Astley, come on. Rick Astley can't be a bot. I mean, it's Rick Astley, right? Got a legitimate looking profile. He's from the UK. The site actually links back to his real site. Just looking at this, you're going to think, wow, that cannot be a bot. It's a bot. This was a bot that I used. And it's interesting to see, you're going to get a lot of interesting replies when you're a celebrity and you're impersonating a celebrity on Twitter with a bot. You know, no way this is the real Rick Astley. His website is far too crap. You know, people saying they're going to get Rickrolled. You might get Rickrolled. Afraid of clicking his profile, probably an ad-free porn site. You know, some guy saying his life is now affirmed because Governor Schwarzenegger and Rick Astley are following him. It's great. Rick's going to blow up on there big time. Rickroll him, haha. And the last one here, I love this one. You know, my 80s heartthrob just found me and is following me. I followed him back. Love in bunches. We love you too. So could this have been the biggest Rickroll in history on Twitter? It absolutely could have been, and that was my plan. I was going to get as many followers as I could, and I was going to just rickroll all of them through a tiny URL. They would have never known the difference. Well, I stopped because all of a sudden one day I just looked at my follower list, and this was up for a couple days. I saw 666 followers. I think I'm going to stop there. That's a bad sign. Stop at 666. Yeah. So what's the point? Well, trust is extremely easy to exploit. People trust bots. They trust anything on social networks. That was just the tip of the iceberg, but as an example of some things. But it's scary to think that people do just trust just about anything. If you say you're a celebrity, they believe you. Accounts were created with these tools, some of the tools and the scripts that we're going to talk about in this presentation. And then lastly, Rick Astley is just evil. That's my opinion. Nothing against Rick, but I just think he's evil. So let's get into the rise of the bots. First, a definition, what are bots in terms of social networks? They're just like any other automated script or program that's out there. They provide repetition. They provide repetition at much higher than what humans can do. And they're set up for scheduling and automation, and they're just great for doing all kinds of things. So you ever see this on social networks? Spam links, pictures of hot chicks with links to, spam, advertising in China. I mean, the list goes on. There's just, spam, 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 spam all over social networks. Well, those things were all created by bots. A human isn't going to just sit there and start typing in spam links in social networks. You got to automate the process. Spammers use volume as their means of advertising, and we'll get into how much volume that we're talking about here. It really is automation on a mass scale because there's multiple ways that you can do this. Malware, black hat SEO techniques, which we'll talk about in a little bit, phishing, propagate porn sites. I found that it's interesting with spammers is it's all revenue generated. So even with the malware, when you click on a link and it takes you to a antivirus 2009 installation, a lot of the times those are actually clicks to affiliate ads and to ad click sites to help the spammer make money while doing this. And we'll talk about why these are so highly effective. So the bot underground. Truly, it is the spammer's choice. Lots of spam out there. I want to quickly talk about the underground business model because it's important to understand how spammers work, how bad guys make money using bots. So there's three main methods. There's create and sell accounts. There's buy and use accounts. And then the last thing that I see a lot of is these custom bot scripts and software, which gets into the freelancing aspect, which we'll talk about here. Black hat SEO. This is an important thing to mention because I find that many of the sites that I've gone to that are talking about bots and trying to sell you bot software and things like that are under this guise of black hat SEO. For anyone that doesn't know, SEO is search engine optimization, and black hat SEO is just basically using borderline evil techniques to increase the search rankings of certain links, like on Google, for instance. Something really bad recently happened to Ford that you may have remembered seeing, where if you Googled for a fan belt for my Ford 1988 Ford Taurus, one of the first couple links that show up on Google was a malicious link to an ad site. So the three things that I see the most, though, with black hat SEO in terms of social networks is pay-per-click, pay-per-install, and an interesting technique that not a lot of people know about called cookie stuffing. Sounds cool. That sounds like it's a recipe or something. Exactly. Yep, stuffing Oreos or stuffing cookies. This is where a black hat will use some scripts and some techniques to maliciously insert affiliate links into your cookies. So say you go to Amazon and you're going to buy a product from Amazon, that spammer is going to get credit for that product purchase. So this is a very popular technique, and they've been doing this for a while. So you want to know more about Black Hat SEO? I could probably spend a whole presentation on Black Hat SEO. Actually, somebody did. Jeremiah Grossman, who's a fantastic web security researcher, spoke at Black Hat DC about a couple months ago. Had a whole presentation on Black Hat SEO. And he even mentioned this guy here. This is Shoe Money. You can Google for him. This is a check that he has for almost $133,000 from Google. That is a real check. This is after using he says they weren't Black Hat techniques, but they were Black Hat techniques before Google changed their algorithms they used in their AdSense and AdWords campaigns. That's only after a couple months of work. So there is major, major money to be made using these techniques. And then I mentioned here 2 sites. Black Hat World is a forum, big forum that a lot of people use to buy and sell trade bots and bot software, freelancing. It's all out there. There's also some blogs like SEO Black Hat that provide a ton of information, almost too much information on how this whole underground works. So what's for sale? What have I found? Hacked accounts, obviously. Guys that want to unload hacked accounts that they get from phishing or from malware campaigns or pretty much anything. Hacked accounts with friends are way more money. And that's important from a trust standpoint, because the more friends you have, that means that there's a lot more people that trust you, and there's more people that trust that you are who you say you are. And from a spammer perspective, that's fantastic, because if I send out a tiny URL to 500 friends as you, they're going to click on that link. Webmail accounts, I found the verified webmail accounts. These are important for spammers because this is what they use when they create accounts of social networks. They need an email account most of the time to verify that it's who they, that is a real legitimate account. And then the last 2 here, bot software and services, or bot software scripts, and then finally services, which are quite interesting. So here's an example. I took on a persona of a guy interested in selling and wanting to purchase large quantities of Facebook accounts and use Captcha outsourcing services for my spamming techniques. And I got back a reply. This guy says he can sell me 1,000 Facebook for $65 and 1,000 Captcha for $5 and $6. And we'll get into what he meant by Captcha. He's not going to actually sell me Captchas. He's going to sell me services to break Captchas. So how much money is there to make out there with fake accounts and stolen accounts and things like that? A Facebook I found with 30-plus friends usually goes for about $8. It's not bad. Facebook phone verified, so that means phone verified in Facebook. I don't know if any of you that have a Facebook account, you can verify with your phone, and that way you won't get that annoying Captcha every time you send a message or a friend request to somebody else. That's basically to get around that. Those go for about $5 to $6. 1,000 Gmail accounts go for $13. Great deal. 500 YouTube accounts go for about $30. Interesting fact, a lot of people don't realize that YouTube is a social network, but it truly is. So there's controls in place for this stuff, right? I mean, the social networks wouldn't want, to just propagate bots throughout their networks. There's got to be something to stop all these bots and these spammers, right? Captcha, right? We've tried Captcha. We've tried from Hotmail to Google to everybody else. They've tried Captcha, but in almost every instance, it's always failed as a control. Captchas fail because the algorithms obviously can be cracked. This has been proven with Hotmail and Yahoo and others. There is something called OCR technology that can read Captchas and then will spit out the correct code for you. Captcha Killer, they have hot chicks to advertise their services for you. So, you can go to CaptchaKiller.com. This is basically like an API, and you can connect into it, and it'll crack the Captcha for you and then send it back to you. They say it's only supposed to be used for the blind and the visually impaired, but we know better. So if that doesn't work, right, outsource it, right? Who needs a freaking computer? You got a ton of people in India right now that'll do it for you on the cheap. And I'm talking really cheap. There's a company called Outsource Bot. They even advertise it, that they are a outsourcing bot service for you. And it's pretty affordable when you think about it from the spammer's perspective. $10 per 500, $75 for 5,000. They will even set up a VPN for you back to your data center or your PC, crack the captchas for you through a nice, through your nice GUI, web interface through remote desktop, and do all that for you. It's a huge, huge business, this outsourcing service. Or just use Melissa, right? Use a hot chick to crack the captchas for you. This was actually a piece of malware that went around last year that you would get this pop-up on your PC, and you get this beautiful girl here, and she says, "Oh, here, start by putting in these letters, and hit enter. I'll remove a piece of clothing." And then you keep going and going and going. But guess what? What this is doing is this is sending the cracked captchas back to the spammer to create email accounts, to send Facebook messages, to do all that. So you got people to automate it for you just by using a technique like this. Absolutely amazing. Guys will fall for anything. Man. I wanted to know if you could switch that and put a good-looking guy, and just, it wouldn't work. So what about these friend requests and messaging controls? This is where I talked about Facebook having the phone verification. So when you're sending messages and stuff like that to your friends, that you're not a spammer, and the account wasn't taken over by a spammer. So they've got this great thing called phone SMS verification. It really is a great idea. You think about it, because everybody has a cell phone. So what they'll do is you'll put in your cell phone number. Facebook will send you a text message with a verification code. Put that code in, and the account gets verified. Well, it can be broken. Broken, obviously, with prepaid cell phones. That's an easy one. They say, and I don't know how I got it to work, but I tested this. I bought one of those track phones that was like $10 to test this out, and I was actually able to get 4 or 5 accounts confirmed with one number. And then all of a sudden, it just stopped working. So that was kind of strange. And I don't think it's supposed to work that way, but interesting experiment nonetheless. There's things called overseas virtual SMS services, which provide SMS receive. There's actually there's services that will provide this service, and they'll give you a bunch of these fake numbers, basically like voice over IP numbers, and allow you to receive SMS messages. And then another thing I tried too was SMS back to either ICQ or Yahoo Messenger. You're actually using if you go into like Yahoo Messenger and set up like cell phone verifications or cell phone messages where people can text you through your account, I found that I can actually get that verification code back from Yahoo Messenger. So what about rate limits, right? They've got to have these rate limits, throttling limits, so you're not sending 1 million messages to Facebook or 1 million friend requests and things like that. This is really easy to bypass because all you do is throttle below the limits that they set. Just test it with a couple accounts like I did. Apparently with Facebook, you can only send about 100 messages per hour without getting this little pop-up here. It says you're approaching the limit for sending messages. And then this one here, this was actually doing some other crazy activity with the account with one of these bots. I got this message that your account could be disabled. So easy to bypass. Just find out what the limits are and then just throttle your messaging below that level and you're fine. So let's get into the types of bots that we find on social networks. 3 categories, really. There's good bots, which are your typical Twitter bots. These are things that I look at it like IRC. You know how IRC has bots? And if you're in an IRC chat room, you can just type to the Google bot, and he'll send you some random phrase of gibberish, and that's kind of fun. It's kind of cool. Or a forecast bot here, where you can send your zip code, and it'll send you the current weather for your zip code. Housewatch is neat. If you want to look at home prices in your area, you can send it your location and your zip code. It'll send you prices for phone or for homes and stuff. Remember the milk? This is where you can actually set up automated tasks. Like say you have a big to-do list, you can have Twitter actually tweet you your reminders and your tasks. Why people would want to put personal tasks up on a social network is beyond me, but people do it. It's a very popular service. Notabot. Notabot is my creation. This is you can find them out there on Twitter. You've probably seen them twittering away like a mad little robot. He just tweets mindless things. He likes to reply to you, and of course his replies are total garbage at times, but that's kind of how he's designed. That's kind of why I use the Lost in Space robot, kind of this, out of control little thing. He does like NOTACON, and he is mostly harmless. So annoying bots. This is a great cartoon I found out there about the Twitter bots. How everybody wants to follow me back, and beep work, click, 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 click. Everybody's a robot following you. This is where we get into these services like Social2, Tweet Later, Twitter Feed. These are things that spammers, especially on Twitter, are using to really take advantage of their accounts out there. So Social2 is a great example. Is when you set up an account and people start friending you. Well, what Social2 will do is it'll automatically follow them back. It'll also send them a nice direct message saying, hey, thanks for following me. I don't know if you're on Twitter, you've probably seen those. They're pretty annoying, actually. And Social2 actually turned off the direct message feature because they had a lot of complaints from people. But bots are using that to increase their follow back count, which is actually pretty neat. And there's also bots that look for keywords, too, in your tweets. So say I'm tweeting about security or security product or food. Foodimentary is a perfect one. You type anything about, I had a cream cheese bagel for breakfast, and all of a sudden Foodimentary is following me. I'm like, that's weird. But then I thought about it, and there's services out there that will actually go out there and look for all those keywords in the Twitter search and then automatically follow you. So let's get into the good stuff, the evil bots. These are the ones that are taking over the social networks. These are really cool. This guy here, Ubot, this is by the way, all these are all free programs that you can go and download and take a look at the code and everything in some instances. But this guy is a nice Windows GUI program created in .NET. It's buggy as hell. It crashes all the time. But you know what? I got this thing to work fairly well for quite a while with really no issues. So here's a Facebook account creator script that somebody posted in one of their forums. I copied it and used it myself to test it out, and it worked great. So here's just an example of like Ubot in action. So what it does is you got your GUI screen. You've got the script that's running in this left window, and then you can change all these scripts to do whatever you want. Basically what this does is it scrapes the page. So say it's like on Facebook. You do a search for, you can actually search for random people in Facebook. So you bring up that page, and what it does is it scrapes all the Facebook ID numbers off the page, puts it into the script, and it starts running through, add as a friend, add as a friend, as a friend, pops up the Captcha. These are nice because you can integrate the API from like Captcha Killer into it. So it goes out to Captcha Killer, cracks the Captcha, then comes back, and then sends the friend request, or finishes the friend request for you. Outsourcing services use this exact same technique to create that VPN back to you, or you can actually shoot the Captchas out to the outsourcing service, and then encrypt the Captcha for you, and then it comes back. Web Dominator. This is my favorite one. They've got this awesome page, Dominate the Web, industrial strength program. They use all these awesome words to basically say you can just take over the entire internet with this program. Kind of funny. Here's Web Dominator in action. It works a lot like Ubot, but I found it a lot more reliable and actually coded a lot better with way more features that I could ever possibly imagine. You can schedule this stuff, so you can, in Windows, it'll link into the scheduling service and schedule these tasks for you. You can automate sending any kind of messaging you want on these social networks. They have plugins for MySpace, Facebook, LinkedIn. They've got even some of the obscure ones like High Five and stuff that nobody uses. They've got tons of these plugins for this. So you can see here in the information list, this is where it's scraping the page with the Facebook user IDs. It's providing quick actions here and things like that. So Web Dominator also has a nice little feature where you can go to YouTube and they have instructional videos on how to use the bot, just in case you didn't know how to figure it out yourself, which was great. So he says here, the bot for any social network. Other pay services. I mentioned that those were all free. There's more than just that. There's a lot of lower level ones. I just want to kind of show you the high level ones. But these other pay services, there's FriendBot, add new friends. There's lots of other services that you pay anything from $50 all the way up. You can get code that works out of the box with support too, which is even better because support is important, you know. The last real evil bot I wanted to mention is RealBoy. RealBoy it was a university project that was done by some college students. I don't know if it was their thesis or something like that, but their goal was to make Twitter bots as human as possible. A little scary when you think about it, and I looked at their code, and basically what it's designed to do is to interact with the people that you interact with by doing things like retweeting, sending phrases and words out that look like real statements and things like that. And it's downright scary that you could actually create something on a social network that interacts real time with people in your network. The source code is available for this. You could just Google it and you can find it yourself. But this is kind of this is like the beginning of the evolution of kind of like these Twitter bots. And this just came out, I think, last year. So.
This is basically Turing code.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. It uses a back-end MySQL database to kind of harvest all your friends' data, and then it'll go out and kind of categorize that, retweet certain things, so it looks like a real person. So social network botnets, right? This is a possibility that's probably coming down the road. We've already seen some of this stuff already, right? We've seen the cube-face worm in Facebook and MySpace that's already basically used for malware distribution, for command and control. Distributed denial of service botnet through third-party Facebook applications. There were some researchers that did something called FaceBot, and there's a great paper on this. Basically, FaceBot is a third-party application you install through Facebook, kind of like the poker and snowball, throw a snowball at your friend application, all these junky apps that are out there on Facebook. But Facebook, what it'll do, or FaceBot, what it'll do is it will basically, once everybody has this application installed, at the same time, it'll create a mass denial of service to a website. Because think about all the apps that are installed on Facebook, and you just need one malicious application out there installed by everybody, and that developer takes control of that and then creates this massive denial of service. Scary stuff, and it can happen. Last thing here, control a botnet via Twitter. This is the code that we're releasing at NOTACON this weekend. DigiNinja, who is Robin Wood, you may know Robin as a guy who created Yasser, which Yasser is karma on the phone. So if you're in penetration testing or if you watch Hack 5, you probably know what that is. Robin's a great guy. He's an excellent Ruby coder, and he put together some proof of concept code that basically acts as a command and control, replacing essentially what IRC is for bot herders on botnets. So you can get this code actually right now from Robin's site. Here's an example of how it works. It's really two programs. The first program here on the left is the actual command and control code. So it will send a command. In this example, I used just a simple ping command to a Twitter account, which the Twitter account was EvilBot. In a more malicious attempt, you could send an actual netcat shell to that command. So as the attacker, I would get a shell back from the system that had the code on, the other code that we'll talk about here in this other screen. So this other code, what it does is it sits there and it waits. It's every 20 seconds it queries this Twitter account for any kind of command from it, and it'll run it on the system. So here you can see it ran the ping command on this other system while it was searching for it. So things to come with Twitter bots. Obviously, the big thing is to obfuscate those commands somehow, either make them look like legitimate Twitter traffic, because if Twitter saw a bunch of these netcat listeners and all kinds of stuff going up on Twitter, they would probably flag that as spam and categorize it. Well, you can obfuscate that either through a hash or through some kind of encryption, or actually putting it into like tiny URLs or things like that. There's a lot to do there, and Robin's going to be working on some newer versions to hopefully do that. And then get the bot to talk back, obviously, that's important as well. And so there's the link to the site. You can pull down the code, digitninja.org/TwitterBot. So is the end near? I mean, are bots really just all going to take over social networks and then we're left with nothing? There'll be no more legitimate profiles and people are just going to stop using social networks and that's going to suck, right?
Skynet's a bot.
Skynet's a bot, right? Well, there are some things, and some developers are starting to do a lot of stuff now. This one is interesting. This is a Twitter program called, well, I guess I call it a service. It's called It's a Bot, and what they do is they have some algorithms that go out and look for, unique characteristics of what bots would be. And it's an API, so if you have a service on Twitter, you could actually, or Twitter itself could actually connect into It's a Bot's API and look for known bots and then eliminating them out of the system. There are lots of clues. Obviously, we've seen them in my examples, like Kristen. Just look at the profile. That's a bot. Block it. And again, like It's a Bot, there's more stuff that I'm sure that's in development to kind of help detect bots in social networks. Other possible solutions, better account creation, message throttling. I'm still amazed that it takes, up to 100 times for, on Facebook, to get this warning that you're doing something bad. Why can't they limit that down or change the algorithm or the way that they calculate that? This amazes me. Why can you still create hundreds of accounts from the same IP? I mean, even if it's, like going through Tor or whatever, it just kind of, I just wonder why they allow you to do that, because a real legitimate person really only needs to create maybe 1 or 2 accounts at times. So hopefully they can limit that. Opt-in developer models, so for Facebook, so those applications like I talk about for the Facebot, or the Facebot, the developer models are really opt-in. Facebook has a program where you could pay like $300 and they will verify you as an official developer. I don't think they actually look at your code, but you kind of get this seal of approval from Facebook. I just think that's not enough. I think they need to do a lot more than that, and it shouldn't be opt-in, because a lot of this code going into these social networks, all based on this open social model, a lot of time is programmed by people that should not be programming, or coded very insecurely. Education of users, right? Somebody's got to do it, because the social networks absolutely will not educate users because it's not in their business model, right? Like I said earlier, they want you to share as much information as possible, and by educating them, well, now everybody's going to start holding back and pulling information back, and that's not what they want. So somebody, like myself or in the security community has to come out, or colleges have to start doing more education of users and really get the word out about how to safely use social networks. So there's more. Socialnetworkbots.com. This is a new open source project that I just started to kind of gather and collaborate on different kinds of social network bots written, right now written in Ruby and in Python, just to demonstrate the different kinds of things that you can do with bots for non-malicious purposes, of course. But I put the Notabot code up there. Notabot is very basic, written in Python, nothing crazy. Like I said, I'm not a programmer, but just putting it together was fairly simple. You can actually use it on an account on Twitter if you want to, and play around with it. And again, the TwitterBot command and control code is available from Robin Wood's site at digitninja.org. So do I have any questions? Yes?
When you said that they're being used to launch DDoS attacks, with them being social networks, it's something you log into with it being a web service, then is it the home users' accounts that are then launching the DDoS, or would it be like Facebook launching hundreds of them? Like, where's it launched from?
It would be launched from their machine, the client's machine. In terms of you're talking about the Facebook bot, or the Facebot? Yeah, the application. The users will install the application through Facebook, but the actual commands to send to whatever website the developer has programmed to do the denial of service, that would all be done on their machine. Yep. Yes, sir.
Have you seen anything like Facebook Connect being used to propagate to other social networks?
That's an interesting subject. Anyone that doesn't know what Facebook Connect is it's kind of like Facebook's third-party integration service with other websites. So say you're on Fox.com and you know where you've seen those links where it says send to my Facebook profile and things like that, or send to my Twitter account. Well, with Facebook Connect, it'll actually allow you to log into your Facebook account from Fox.com and then automatically post things to that. I haven't seen a lot of attacks centered around that because I know Facebook account was just released, I think, last year, and it kind of went mainstream then, and it's just starting to get integrated with a lot more sites. One interesting thing I did find was where I work at, there was a news organization that they were trying to, you would go to the main page and the coder had improperly coded the Facebook Connect API that linked back to Facebook, and it was basically causing like the page to continuously refresh and just all kinds of weird stuff. So definitely it's going to be manipulated, I think, in the future for sure. Anybody else? Yes?
Could you go over like a quick pseudocode for writing like a simple bot in Twitter? Is it just involve like screen scraping and posting, or is there some sort of API?
Yeah, you know, interesting you say that. There's a great library in Python. It's called Python Twitter, or Twitter Python. Yeah, Python Twitter, right? Exactly. Python Twitter is great. Everything is done for you. It's basically just going out to this library with a couple requests, and they've laid out some great processes that you just connect into. The library does all the work for you and then brings back the data back into your code. It's very simple.
Is it only available in Python? Are there other languages that you send?
Yes, there is one for Ruby because I know Robin Wood uses that for Ruby, and I'm sure there's probably others as well.
Random comment on that. Linux Journal did a couple articles doing it from Bash shell. I mean, it's very
Yeah. Yep. There's some Twitter clients for Linux that are written that way. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm available. I'll be here the rest of the con if anybody else has any questions, but thanks for coming.